All right, welcome back to the newspaper review. We apologize for the breaking transmission. It's still the newspaper review here on Lagoon Radio. I'll be moving on to this Nigerian newspaper. Acute phase of COVID-19 pandemic can end this year, says WHO. You can read up on page 5 of the paper. Federal government vows to pressure Shell's plan to remove fuel subsidy. It's on the inside of the paper. You can check it out. Of course, you have a picture on the front page there. A coalition of civil society groups in front of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, National Secretariat in Abuja, demanding for a president from the South in the 2023 elections yesterday. I mean, the picture is there on the front page, and you can see boldly written on the banner, Coalition of Civil Society Groups report Southern Presidency 2023. Power rotation is sacrosanct. Well, it's on the inside of the paper. You can check it out. Still on the paper, Anifa's mother, Kanu boys. And right after that says, angry youth burned down school where Pupio was killed and buried. Government revokes operational licenses of all private schools. This you can read on page 4. Aisha Buhari, NCWS seek justice. And all of this you can read on page 4 of the paper. POS transactions in Nigeria hit all-time high of 6.4 trillion naira in 2021. I had the charges now. It's going up from 100 naira to 200. I'd rather use my ATM though. But it's just another means of withdrawing, to save you time. But still, let's just take it easy on ourselves. All right, court orders extradition of Dizani. You can read up on page 5. Certificate scandal rocks Osun PDP Guba primaries. And right after it says, I stand by my documents, says Adeleke. You can read up on the inside on page 10 of This Nigeria. Over to you, Solomon Grandi.
I have here with me Daily Champion. Inside the Daily Champion, 2023 presidency, Tinubu has no problem in the north, says Miyetti Allah. Atiku will only do single term of 4 years, says Dokpesi. You can see that on page 2. Inside the Daily Champion, Governor Wike's effort to keep our environment safe should be commended, says Obua. Once again, continue dumping of waste on Median. Moving on, court orders ex-petroleum minister Desani's arrest.
Wow.
You can see that on page 2.
Wow. So that's I think that this is coming up after the issue of the diamond braziers and all that. I think that came up last year, towards the end of last year, when some of our properties were put on auction and all that. But when the properties were put on auction, who would buy them? If someone just comes up and says, "Oh, I would love to buy these underwears, the gold and diamond underwears," wait, won't the FCC arrest that person safe?
They will arrest the person.
And even ask, where did you get that kind of money from? Hey, it is well.
Moving on, NBA strengthen collaboration with Mo on law reforms. We've set up task force to dismantle cartel behind Umpuru Imiri, says Mawa. That is also on page 7.
Do you know what Umpuru Imiri is?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I saw that thing yesterday.
You don't know?
Wait.
You don't know? Hey! In fact, let me give you as an assignment. Umpuru Imiri is it's a kind of substance. It's like a drug.
Oh, okay.
It's a substance
I saw it in the news
allows,
yesterday.
when people take it, they start to misbehave and all that. And it's a local substance,
is there
really.
any drugs that you take that they don't misbehave?
No, this one, Umpuru Miri is I think is high grade, exactly. Is high grade.
I saw it yesterday in the news. I don't know.
Is high grade. Then there was a period too I heard about Molly. Someone talked about Molly. I'm like, Molly? What's Molly? The person, you don't know Molly.
You just be smiling.
You don't know Molly. I was like, when you finish taking Molly like this, you just be smiling, like your body will be sweeting you. I'm like,
for goodness sake.
what is Molly? Like
Is it Molly or Molly?
Molly.
Whatever.
Okay.
Moving on the inside of the Daily Champion, federal government bows to pressure, suspend fuel subsidy removal till further notice. It's an election strategy, says NBA.
Before we know.
We know because I've been thinking about this since last year when they were talking about fuel subsidy removal for year 2022 and pump price will increase to 340 naira per liter. I'm like, if I'm buying 20 liters of petrol for maybe 3,000 something, so I will end up buying the same 20 liters for almost 7,000 naira. I join now.
Well,
Like,
you should expect anything once the election is coming to close. I mean, gradually coming to
maybe very soon the price of gas would reduce.
we pray because
Everything
that
will
is so ridiculous. The
It's an
price is
election strategy.
so much.
But okay, if the price can, to me, I'm just trying to analyze something. If the price can now reduce, maybe because of maybe propaganda or election strategy or campaign strategy,
So after that,
why can't you just leave it that way and let it lie? Did anybody die when you reduced the price?
Abi.
Things you so that means you
that's-
know
you're-
from your
you're-
heart
you're-
over that
you're
things could
correct,
get better.
You're correct, and I think they know what they're doing.
But to me, it shouldn't be. It shouldn't.
We're just stressing ourselves
As
in this
in
country.
on
The stress is just too
on
much.
things that are very easy to solve.
Exactly.
They want to make it look as if we are working. So once it go up today, we'll make it come down tomorrow. If it goes up today, it's these same people that are making it go up.
That
These
will
same
make
set
it
of
go
people
down.
that are making it
To
come down.
me,
to
even
make it look as if they are really
even
really
the
doing
working
well.
shouldn't be maybe when election is coming and that's when you will now know how to behave properly and all that, and that's why you see someone maybe I don't understand the kind of campaign strategy that is being used in this our country Nigeria. It's so funny. That's when you will see
This
someone going for a
democracy.
position who start to buy roasted corn, who start
Buy
eating
is
roasted
okay.
corn.
Different
No, it's good to
things.
buy. You will see them roasting it. You see them sucking.
No, the
soaking
thing
garri
is, what
with
actually
all the
stops you?
Children from the rural area.
Sharp. If
These
you
things
can,
that
if you can,
normally
if you
they
can
won't
buy
even
roasted
do.
corn when you are campaigning, what stops you from stopping when you're in that position and still buying the same roasted corn?
Roasted corn is buying during election,
It's
during
during election
campaign.
now.
Yes,
Did
now.
they tell you it's the only one day? You did not see. You didn't see it. Oh.
And why don't you do the same? Even after you get to that position,
actually buy it.
feel free to
Because
buy the
they've
roasted
gotten-
corn.
they've
They
gotten
buy
it
it.
to
They
Step
buy
down,
it.
step down the way you stepped down.
buy
Buy
it,
the roasted corn. Then there was a picture I saw too on social media of one of the politicians barbing someone else's hair in the barbing salon. I'm like, are you kidding me?
I've seen,
Like,
I've seen different pictures.
Like, are you kidding
I've
me?
Seen different pictures.
so why don't we just be real for once? Be real. If you know you want to be entering barbing salons at random to start barbing customers' hair for the owner of the salon, keep doing it even after you get to that position. Let there be continuity. That's part of what we call transparency. It's not only in the area of money that we talk about transparency. So
At
I
that
think
time, by that time they will have like maybe 12 security.
it doesn't matter. Even with your security, you
still
can still
follow
step
them there.
down. They should follow
But
them there.
but
By the time you finish barbing, you go.
There's nothing wrong that says there's nothing wrong that says you can't disguise if you're really scared of your environment or your community. I don't see anything bad in you disguising.
But on a serious note, I think this deception should stop. We should learn as much as possible.
Amen.
We should try
We'll
to
keep
be real.
praying.
Let's
They
just
should
be
stop
real.
deceiving
Don't worry, we
us.
keep
They stop.
praying.
They are not even deceiving us anymore because we know what's happening. They should stop deceiving themselves
But
because we already know.
They still deceive some people.
They should
And
go
those that
on.
want to be
Those are the should I say vulnerable people or those that want to be deceived.
Yes.
So it's so fire down.
Okay.
We'll be
Yeah.
alright.
Moving on, also on Daily Champion, INEC charges staff to brace up ahead of 2023 general election. Oyetola swears in chairman members of non-statutory boards of parastatals. LCC high hails e-invoicing. E-invoicing seeks more investment in Gbajabi. I don't know.
I know. No. It's actually a mixture of Nigeria and Gbajabia Mila. Nick Gbajabia Milaria's digital infrastructure. Gang.
Oh, okay, so it's not a typo.
It's not. You can extract Nigeria, and I think Gbajabia Mila was being fixed into Nigeria. Gbajabia Milaria's digital infrastructure. That's a new word for the week.
Okay.
I think that was one. That was one.
Okay.
Champion.
Okay, let me take these day papers and right at the top, marginal fields. NUPRC invites reserve bidders after winners failed to pay within stipulated time. You can get that on page 18 of these day papers as LCCI hails CBN's move to halt over invoicing. And that's on page 6 of these day papers. Military seizes power in Burkina Faso, whereabouts of president unknown. That's on page 8. So at the moment there is state of emergency in Burkina Faso, and the president's whereabouts is not known. Despite COVID-19, over 14.2 million passengers traveled by air in 2021. Can get the full details on page 18. And I used to that's why I used to say, like, I think this period of this COVID-19 pandemic and everything. Okay, I think last year we heard about Omicron. Then I think should I say early this year is Delta Cron. We go there, all right.
Delta variant plus Omicron.
That's Delta Cron. So whichever name, I think the period we are now is the period of personal responsibility. Nobody will force you to use your face mask. Nobody will force you to sanitize your hand. Nobody will force you to keep social distancing. So you should be exactly. So anything that happens to you, you're responsible for it. All right. Federal government bows to Labour, shelves plan to end full subsidy from July.
This is stopping
all the papers, yes. And the writer under that, right, we have some writers. Silva says Buhari against subsidy removal as Lawan appeals to NLC TUC to cancel protest. Postponement sends wrong signal to foreign investors and oil marketers. One. APC removal will heighten inflation, cause undue hardship. Some labor petitions state governance over proposed hike in petrol price. So please let it be that way. No, like we are still looking for how to get our feet back after paying school fees. Lastly, on this day papers, Ganduje says, I'll sign death sentence on Anifa's killers with speed. If what? You can get that on, you can find out on page 49 of this day papers.
All right, moving on to the New Telegraph. At the very top of the paper, we have CBN. Credit to private sector rises 18.5% to 35.73 trillion naira. And the writer that says lending to federal government peaks at 13.7 trillion naira. You can find out on the page 3 of the paper. Analysts, MPC may raise interest rate in H2 2022. You can read up on page 25 of the paper. Still on the paper, why Southeast can produce president now by Dokwesi. You can read up on page 2. Alleged money laundering. Court orders Alison Madwe case arrest. You can read up on page 4. Anifa Kano revokes private schools licenses. You can read up on page 2 as well. AFCON All Star. Eagles goalie Okoye gets death wish. Why? You can find out on page 31. You have something to say to us on that?
On top of that ball, because Nigeria lost.
Exactly. Like
I learned so many people bet on this thing. And not because they have so much faith in Nigeria.
But to me, who even say you work? Who even say you work to bet?
Is it today they've been betting?
Who even say you work?
Is it today they've been losing?
And is it today they've been losing?
We even read it on the news this morning that Okoye and Alex, they started receiving death threats.
Alex did not do anything. They only gave him a red card after 10 minutes.
Maybe that was the reason.
He didn't play more than 10 minutes. Imagine somebody that we are calling savior.
Hey.
You can read up on page 31 of the paper, and the major story there says federal government succumbs to NLC, TUC, and retains fuel subsidy. Says suspension to ignite increased local refining capacity. Plans amendments to PIA 2022 budget to accommodate subsidy. It's a welcome development, says APC. All of this you can read up on pages 2 and pages 8 of the New Telegraph newspaper. And at the very side of the paper, JAMB to commence UTME February 12. Fixes UTME/DE registration for April 20th and 13th. You can read up on page 2 of the paper. Airlines faces excess capacity struggle to fill planes. And the writer to that says carriers set to return leased aircraft. Lull in activities forced down fares. This you can find out on page 3. And at the very bottom, study had revealed that walking slowly could increase heart failure risk. You can find out and read more on page 8 of the New Telegraph newspaper, and that'll be all on the paper.
Oh, black.
Moving on to leadership newspaper. On the very top of the newspaper, Kano revokes private schools licenses. Burkina Faso, despite ECOWAS sanctions, army strikes in fourth West African country. Court issues arrest warrant on Dizani. Conflicting court orders 7 lawyers to face disciplinary panel. On the page 6 of the leadership newspaper, EFCC rearranged Fani Kayode orders for money laundering.
Oh.
That's deep.
It's deep.
Fuel subsidy. Federal government states heads for showdown over FAAC remittances. That's what we have.
All right. Before we wrap up, let me briefly take Nigerian Tribune. NBA finds San, 6 other lawyers guilty of influencing judges. That's on page 3. And this is about the murder and of a student in Kano Youth Bond School, where 5-year-old was murdered. Suspect remanded in prison. I will assent to death sentence once judgment is passed, says Ganduje, and government revokes operational license of private schools. Burkina Faso soldiers announce military takeover. That's in Burkina Faso. And court issues warrant for Diazani's arrest. And personally, I'm interested in this, and we'll try to follow up as much as possible. You can get that on page 5 of the Nigerian Tribune. As oil price falls on strong dollar, potential federal rate increases. Also on page 7 of the Nigerian Tribune. Papers, federal government suspends planned petrol subsidy removal. We've taken that. And Buhari's government should prepare for warning rallies on Thursday, says Falano, as Senate President wants Labour to shelve strike. This on Ekiti election. Winning Ekiti, first step to rescuing Nigeria, says Ayu. As Oni Fayoshe, others meet for fence mending. So I think according to political leaders, a kind of breach. And now something keeps coming to me, like, what about people that have lost their lives, all in the name of I'm for Fayoshe, I'm for Oni, I'm for. Now they want to mend the fence.
After destroying so many things.
So this is telling Nigerian youths that use your sense, wake up. This is politics. All right, I saw this this morning. Traditional ruler killed 3 burns to death in Ogun State. And I think it's a traditional ruler of one of the villages in the Iwekoro local government. They were reportedly murdered and burnt to ashes in their own car because of power tussle and all that for a village. Okay. Lagos Island fracas. Police arrest NURTW leaders Kunle Poli, Tafasego. You can get that on page 27 of the Nigerian Tribune.
I'm not sure you are. I'm not sure you are aware of what happened last weekend.
Last week, Thursday and Friday.
Yes, I'm not sure you are aware of what happened.
The fight, is it the fight?
The fight,
Yes.
They are still fighting.
Yeah, I saw another video yesterday.
It was actually God that saved me.
It's really heartbreaking.
Last week, Thursday and Friday.
Yes, my brother was coming and he took that place. When he came to, he said it's God that saved him. They were fighting. Imagine, they would probably take him because he's as black as you. If you have the same complexion. No, you know it's him true, now. Man. Like, people are you look alike in complexion. And he's a young guy, so they might just do something to him. Who knows?
It is well.
It's it's painful and it's heartbreaking.
Okay.
People need to be called to order.
They actually need to. I think enough of the fight, unnecessary fight. Nigeria's education sector in crisis, says UNICEF, as 1/3 of children are not in school. That's on page 8 of the Nigerian Tribune. And lastly, Constitution Amendment, NJC, governors battle over 846 judges. And the writer to that says NAS to determine judges' fate. All right, thank you for joining us on today's segment of Newspaper Review. Do join us same time tomorrow on another interesting edition of the Newspaper Review. And don't forget to follow us on all our social media platforms: Facebook at Lagoon Radio Nigeria, Instagram and Twitter at Lagoonradio.Ng. I still remain Olabisi Semidele, okay? And
my name is Taiwo Adiola Shabiolibe,
aka DJ Shab. And
Adimo Adelu Solomon.
Oh, Black. Good morning and have a nice day.
You too.
This is